Hello once again everyone, Original Blood Ace here, finally getting around to this video. A bit later than I planned, but it's the way it is. So anyway, let's get into this. First of all, as most of you know, I hated the original Ruby and Sapphire games back in the day. They were my least favorite Pokemon games. So I decided to give them a second chance, or at least Sapphire anyway, with Alpha Sapphire. And now that I have beaten the game, even though it was actually a little while ago, a few days ago now, not including catching all the legendaries, because I frankly simply don't care to keep catching them over and over again each game. I can just transfer them over if I really wanted to. I feel I can safely say now that once again, I hate the game. It's not that it's a bad Pokemon game per se, it's just that for me personally, I hated the game. It didn't mix well with me. For me, Pokemon X was vastly superior in pretty much every single way. All but the music, really. Anyway, let's get into this review. So, well, first of all, I should mention there's probably going to be some spoilers that I mention when I'm going through this. So, if you don't want spoilers, then stop watching now. But then again, this is a remake of a 10-year-old game, so is it really spoilers when it's 10 years old? Who knows? But anyway, let's get into this. And I'm going to reverse the order here. Usually I talk about the pros first, then the cons. Since I have way more cons than pros, I'm going to do the cons first, and then I'll say the pro. That's right, pro. There's only one. So for the cons, starting off right off the bat, I hated the story. It's as simple as that. Everything from your dad being a gym leader in this game to the whole thing with Deoxys and the meteor coming to smash into the planet, to the, I forget what they were called, Dragonid people, or whatever those ancient people were called. And then the lady, I forgot her name now, but she stole Mega Bracelets and Mega Stones to meet Rayquaza and whatnot. Didn't enjoy that at all. The whole Delta Emerald extra side mission basically at the end of the game, because it was just like to be continued, and at first I was like, wait, what? To be continued, and then it continued on to a second little chapter thing. Didn't really care for that. Um, Also, Team Aqua, they felt bad that they almost destroyed the world with Kyogre. Then they turn around like they were good for in trying to make up for it, and then literally, in the next chunk of the game, they're back to being bad. Even though it wasn't Archie the leader in charge, it was his brother Matt or whatever. But I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. They're all like, oh, the world is peaceful. We gotta help people, get them inside because the world's gonna end because of Kyogre. And they were good and helping out people, and then they turn right around and be stupid and be bad again. Didn't like that. Didn't really like that. Um, Anyway, next thing on the cons list here is the characters themselves. I don't like May. We'll start off with her. I always liked Gary from the original games, just because he had much more of an attitude, kind of similar to myself. I don't like Team Aqua. I liked Team Rocket back in the day. Hell, even Team Plasma from Black and White 2 and Team Flare from X and Y were much, much better. Um, Team Magma, I assume I would feel the same as I do about Team Aqua. Even though Team Magma is technically in the game, they're just not your main rivals. But anyway, um, even the character designs on Team Aqua, I didn't mind Archie and Matt, but like the grunts and the what not supervisors, what do you call those people? The admins or whatever. Didn't like their outfits, didn't like their designs. Um, but whatever. The only character that I liked in Alpha Sapphire was Wally. He was an interesting character. I like how you got to actually help him start off on his journey by helping him catch a routes, even though all you did was, basically walked with him and didn't do anything. And then you would kind of become a secondary rival to you, or he would become a secondary rival to you. Um, Besides being an interesting character, though, his battle music, like when you fight him after Victory Road, epic. Absolutely epic music. I really enjoyed that. People were like complaining, oh, it doesn't sound like battle music. Well, it's because it's encounter music. You're encountering Wally again for the final time. And it was just epic. But anyway, you can kind of count that as a mini pro, I suppose, his music. Pokemon. The Pokemon themselves. Generation three's Pokemon. I hate almost every single one of the Pokemon in Gen 3. Probably about 75 to 80% of them I don't care for. Um, It's unfortunate, but it just is the way it is. So I mostly stuck with Pokemon from other gens for the most part. Um, but anyway, moving on to the next thing is the new flying mechanic. I don't remember what the official term is, like where you can ride around on Latios or Latios, depending on your version. It was a cool idea, but I don't feel it was done properly, in my opinion. Not enough things to explore with it, really. Like, there should have been places that you can go to only by flying on Latias and Latios that wasn't just a small spot that you landed on to fight a legendary Pokemon. I wanted, like, an actual place where you could explore, find trainers who, maybe have unique Pokemon to them, like in that region, for example. You could go to an island where everyone there uses Pokemon from the Johto region, or the Kanto region, or the Kalos region, or the Unova region. That would have been something interesting. Um, but it doesn't feel like it was, how do I put it? It's like an afterthought, like, oh, I can fly whenever, in which is kind of nice. Like if you don't want to have a Pokemon with you that knows the move Fly, then you can still fly around. So that's kind of a little nice side effect, I suppose. But just in general of using it, it felt unfinished. Like they could have done so much more with it. Um, Diving underwater was the next issue that I had. I hated this in the original game. I still don't. I just don't like the idea of dive, like going underwater and whatnot. Even wasn't there another game I played like that? I forget. Oh, whatever. Maybe I'm thinking of the original. I still hate it today anyway. Just doesn't work for me. Though in most cases in games, I'm not a fan of water-based levels, so that could have something to do with it. Um, the only exception being the Water Temple in Ocarina of Time, really. While that was a tough son of a bitch and one of the hardest dungeons way back when, I still enjoyed it. But anyway, off topic. Next con on my list here is that the game itself was just a bit too easy in general. I'm not even talking about just with Pokemon battles, but the game was like 100% completely way too linear. I said with the Zelda video, I don't mind like Zelda being linear or non-linear, but this was just way too linear. I don't know if it was really any different than the other Pokemon games, like in reality, but it really felt like it was just way too linear, Just go here, go here, go here, go here, go here, go here. Like it was just a straight line basically from start to finish. So I didn't really, I don't know, I didn't really enjoy that or respect it. Um, what else here is on my list? Too much extra shit. I mean, this is more not really a problem with the game, but well, I guess game design maybe, but we get 3 starters, I believe, this time around. Like, every time you beat something, you come back and the professor's running around in circles saying, oh, help me grab a Pokeball from the bag, and then you get a starter. I don't like that. I don't want 3 starters, thank you very much. Um, it's just, to me, it's just, it's too much. It's too much. Maybe if that was done in a different way, where it wasn't just by him running in a circle and you randomly grabbing a Pokeball, like if it was some interesting reward, maybe, like, say, from the Battle Frontier or something, win 50 battles in a row, get a secondary starter. Something like that, maybe, but not just, oh, pick a Pokeball, here you go, have another starter. I don't like that. And then it did it a third time, and I'm just like, no, thank you. No, thank you. I mean, I picked one, but I don't use it. Uh, Anyway, in general, I'm tired of them just adding every single Pokemon, or at least almost every single Pokemon, into every game from now on. I don't like them continuously blending generations together. Every once in a while, I don't mind a Pokemon game where everyone is in it, but every game in a row, we don't need to have, mixtures of the majority of Pokemon. There can be a few Pokemon that can be in every game, like Pikachu and Eevee come to mind. Um, but I don't know. We don't need so many Pokemon from every generation mashed in with every other generation. So I hope in the next new Pokemon game, the next generation one, which hopefully isn't like a new 3DS exclusive, but I hope they stick with brand new Pokemon and only brand new Pokemon. Um, what else? The last thing on my cons list here was Poke contests. While they were in another game, I believe, I think they were in at least one other Pokemon game, I don't enjoy them at all. I don't even like them. I don't like the idea of them. They're just. I know they were completely optional then, or if they were completely optional, I should say, then fine. But you are forced to do it at least once in Alpha Sapphire, Omega Ruby, and I don't like that. I mean, it's over in 5 minutes. It's not a huge deal, but it's just something I just don't really like. Um, but if it's kind of a funny thing, if I was a character in the Pokemon, show or cartoon or games, I should say, I'd be probably the bad guy because it's just I don't know. It would mix things up. I would do things so differently. But anyway, that's way off topic. Let's get into my pros, or pro, I should say. The soundtrack. The music in the original games was still pretty much the best thing in the game, and it sticks today. The music is pretty much the most enjoyable thing I had about the game. Whether it was encounter music, whether it was battle music, whether it was Elite Four music. I liked the Elite Four's music. I liked all the music. I don't think there was any songs that I didn't enjoy, honestly. Um, yeah. But now I have a few personal ideas I wanted to go over before I give my rating of the game, of what I would like to see in the next new Pokemon games. And first of all, I just realized I forgot to write one down here, which was I want every gym leader to have 3 Pokemon. I don't want to fight one that has one. I don't want to fight one that has two. Give every gym leader 3 Pokemon. But anyway, and only let you use 3 Pokemon, just like in the show. Um, but anyway, so my first official thing I would personally like to see in the next new Pokemon games or in the future is remove the part of the game where it tells you what Pokemon your opponent is about to send out and asks if you want to switch out. That's just, I don't know why that's there. It's stupid because all that lets you do is say, oh, what is it? Like a Lapras is coming out next. Let me switch to my Pikachu so I can one hit KO it with a Thunder. Like, it's just a get out of jail free card. That's boring and too easy. So I want that gone, or at least optional. So I can, I won't know what my opponent's sending out, and then when they send it out, I'll be like, oh, I didn't expect them this, I didn't expect this, and then I have to fight it with the Pokemon that's already out, or risk switching then, and then he gets hit. So it's a little bit more fair, in my opinion. It's kind of weird to take pity on AI characters because I just feel like they're at such a huge disadvantage. Because like you're like, hey, I'm gonna send out a Bulbasaur. Please don't send out a Fire Pokemon, and then that's exactly what you do. So yeah. Um, the second thing I would like to see is with the Elite Four, make them each have a variety of Pokemon, and make them have 6 Pokemon, not 5. Um, and not just I just don't want them to focus on just one type. I'm sick of like dark, ghost, dragon, and what is the other one, like ice this time, and there's like fire sometimes. I don't want It's so easy. You can have like one Pokemon who can just sweep each of them, and I don't like that. So I think that I would like an Elite Four where each person, including the champion, well, he already does, I guess, but the Elite Four, each member uses a variety of different Pokemon. We'll have 6 different Pokemon. Hell, have one Pokemon from each generation. That would be kind of interesting, wouldn't it? Um, but anyway, um, I think there was more here. Let me just read here. Do 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 do. Make it so you can't switch out. That was another thing I wrote down against the Elite Four, so your Pokemon is forced to stay in until it either wins the whole fight or it faints. Some people won't like that, but I think it would make the game a little more tougher and, more rewarding feeling instead of just using one Pokemon to take out, all 4 Elite Four members. Um, but lastly, with the Elite Four, make it so you can only use one healing item per battle. Meaning, like, you can only use one revive or one, full restore or one hyper potion or whatever. No using, like, oh, revive, I'm going to throw out a sacrificing guy so I can revive my, good guy. Make it so you can only use one healing item. It's the Elite Four. It's supposed to be the most toughest fights in the game. Yet they really, sometimes they don't feel like they're any different than just fighting, what are those kids that you called preschoolers with their Puchienas or whatever. Um, but yeah, so make it a little more tougher like that. Um, the third thing I would like to see is with the champion. Have his Pokemon automatically be 10 levels higher than yours. So it doesn't matter how much training you do, that they'll always be 10 levels higher, unless you're level 91 or above, because then obviously he can't go past level 100. Um, but at that point, have it so the champions Pokemon would eventually be all level 100. That way you could have, level 100 versus level 100 fights, almost like online. Um, because it's just kind of annoying how they're always so low, and it's just a slow way to train fighting like level 60 Pokemon or whatever. I do think they got a buff when you fight them the second time. They went up to like 70 or something. But I don't know. That's just something that it was an idea of mine. Um, Number 4. After we become the champion, how about letting us be the damn champion? In this game, they at least acknowledge it. Steven calls us, "Oh, you're champion now." But let us actually go to the Elite Four, skip the Elite Four members, and be the champion at the building, and take on AI trainers who are trying to beat us and become the champion. Similar to the Battle Frontier, but this time we're make it so we're the champion, defending our title against AI people. I think that would be an ingenious idea. It's like I can't even talk. It's such an obvious idea. Why wasn't it done? We become the champion, but it never actually means a damn thing. It means you beat the game, but you never can actually. They never go the next step past that of letting us be the damn champion. So whatever. The last point of mine was remove the XP share item or nerf it so that it once again only works on one Pokemon. I know this is an optional item, so you can just turn it off. Um, but it would just be better. I only use it usually after I've beaten the game when I'm just trying to rank up a whole bunch of Pokemon. But it would just be better so that new players to Pokemon, which hard to believe there's still new people out there who haven't played Pokemon, so that they didn't use it and just, they had to grind. Like way back with Red and Blue, there was no XP share that worked on every one of our Pokemon. We had to grind each Pokemon individually, and you had to like pick and choose your battles. You'd get to a gym leader and you'd be like, "Oh crap, I was training my electric Pokemon on, and this is a ground type or whatever. Wrong choice to train." And it would actually be a tough fight, and you'd have to, when you won, you were like, "Yes," and you were like, "That's rewarding." But yeah. So in the end, I guess, what score do I give Alpha Sapphire? Well, I gave the original. I don't even remember exactly, but I think I gave it like a 3 out of 10 back in the day. Now, I know that's harsh. Now, I give Alpha Sapphire a whopping 5.5 out of 10. The new Mega Pokemon are great for the most part. The music is really the only saving grace for the game, or for me in the game. Um, so while it did improve over the original, I still don't consider this or I still consider this the worst gen of Pokemon in my personal opinion. If you love the games, that's great. That's fine. But for me, I hated it. Just blech. So for me, time to go back to Pokemon X for when I want to play Pokemon. I'm not even going to bother transferring my Pokemon over from X to Alpha Sapphire. Although I'd probably have to use the Pokemon Bank to do that, I think. Um, and then the last little point I wanted to say was, now this, like, I gave Alpha Sapphire, or Sapphire another try with Alpha Sapphire after all these years. Now this makes me really not want to give Majora's Mask 3D another try, seeing as, I hated that, and I'm feeling like if I did try it again, this would be the same thing as like Sapphire with Alpha Sapphire, where I beat it and I still don't like it. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, I don't know. But that's going to do it for my review. I've talked long enough. So, I'm Original Blood Ace as always. You know the deal, you know the drill. Stay tuned, more videos coming soon, as always.